The thing, if you pick Cassante as Bin, you're just opening up for a TF or something along those lines. So it looks like, at least at the moment, BLG want to try and get rid of some of those picks.
Being missed by the... Oh, no. The corpse of the cannon flew up into the air.
You know, as soon as...
Oh, Faker going to get pulled back! And that is first blood going tonight, and it's assault!
The kill there, that is insane advantage.
Well, BLG now pushing forward here towards the bottom side. Guma does slink down into the mist, but Shun's making his way in. Arctic Assault is going to find the center, and there's the Weaver's Wall as well. They take down Gumayushi, and there's the flick on the carrier as well, but Owner is there with the stab. Finally, they take down the Tom Kenshin, a 2-for-1.
Already put back to life.
Yeah, in the meantime, that is going to be the handshake on top of the rocks. There is the seismic shove, and Faker is just going to try and deal with the wave. He knew...
They're continuously scaling on Corki,
but he might be dead yet again. There's the flash handshake to come out from On as Guma. He's trying to get out of there, but I don't know whether it's going to work out as Elk is just dashing behind him, finds the pierce, and he just explodes. Carrier, he has to...
But the classic Baron rush.
Faker.
Yeah, well, Faker's just going to face check, put in prison here, and the wall is set up behind him. There's the flash Valkyrie, using him in the right order this time around, but he's still dead. The rocks are thrown at him, and they're
going out, and there's just nothing you can do as BLG, and the follow-up then from Owner as well, knowing that he'd be able to get on two. That's 2 kills now with the Kraken Slayer completed for Owner. He's in a great spot, and if he can start to play around bot side once more here...
With the package at the ready, avoids everything, or everything misses. Package going to get delivered as the Drake now being considered by T1. Snare connects onto Shun, but he is still in this fight, at least for the moment. Maybe getting a lot of damages. There is a huge burrow right on top of BLG and T1. I think we may have started counting him out too early. This might be a bridge too far here for Zeus, who is going to have to try and get something done to get out of here. Has ghosted, has made it underneath the turret, but there's the flash forward. He is going to get stunned to the wall with the condemn, and there's the kill going over.
Only one here, picking up these...
Oh dear, there's a Glacial Prison, and yep, he's normally a pretty slippery champion, but it's not going to work out there. Tries to half this Baron area. Some wards that have been turned off, and now, speaking of getting turned off, Owner is out of there. Things went black and white. Really break open the game. BLG down to 50% health on this Baron. The Weaver's Wall comes through as Zeus. He wants to try and get over that. Now Faker off to the side on a bit of a flank angle. Decent amount of damage can be done here, and that is going to be the Baron secured by B. The spot as he does get interrupted. Zeus getting that wrap around. Final hour does come on through. As now just looking to turn it onto Faker. Is this going to be the 1v2 as the all-out does come through? There's the pullback, and now Ben is so fast. He just kills Faker. Can he get out is the question. The answer is, does he even want to? Gumayushi coming around, and I think he will be shut down, but a 1-for-1, you take those.
Into hitting hard for the BLG top laner.
And now this inhibitor should follow as well as Carrier. So many sticks in him. As Owner trying to get himself out of there. Thankfully, Carrier is pretty tanky with the fact that he's the one that's been farming, but this inhibitor not long for the world. And BLG, they grab themselves their second dragon, and I reckon that...
BLG, they return. Knight cuts them off with a bit of a wall.
Well, Carrier actually going aggressive there. Not sure about that one, as now hostile takeover comes on in. Both tanks just doing battle, and Bin puts Carrier in the ground. Zeus not looking as tanky as he has in some of the other games here at MSI. The inner turret is up with this top lane inhibitor turret as Owner on that flank angle. Teleport to come in as well. Shun down to 50% as now Zeus thinks he may have found an angle here. The flash forward from Gumayushi doesn't manage to find the snare. And neither does Zeus. The all-out comes on through. Faker delivers a package to the backline and gets rid of Knight. Could this be the team fight they're looking for? Faker, he goes down, but I think they're just too big, and Elk is ripping them apart, rendered down. And I think that's the last gasp for T1 in game 1.
The speed up, we're not flashing in for handshakes in lane, really bullying them there. And then, of course, the mid lane difference that we saw, Knight over Faker. Obviously a huge factor as Shun's having a little fun in the jungle.
Yep, not really taking too much damage here, but he's going to be able to interrupt Zeus on his attempted way out. And now 1 versus 5. I don't think that one's going to be winnable there. Zeus meet the wave. Knight is so incredibly frightening. 4 versus 5 here. Only 2 turrets remain here for T1 as they're looking to desperately hold on. It feels so hopeless as the hostile takeover is gigantic. There's another handshake from On. He is just so good at this champion. Gumayushi is going to get flattened, and T1 going to get pulled out of their fountain. Carrier, not enough gray health to go through here, as he will be rendered where he stands. And there goes the Nexus on game 1. BLG BLG up 1-0.
The LPL and
Maokai, Tom Kench, and Ornn, which are all of his center champions.
Sejuani as well, just
yeah, that's true. Poppy would be fine, I'm sure. But instead, the Tom Kench will be locked away, and we'll see whether Gumayusi Carry are going to have a better time in exactly the same lane matchup in game number 2.
So probably going to get some jungle.
Low.
He really is. In fact, they don't even need him. There's the flash forward. First blood going over to On. He will be answered as Carrier locks down that kill, and now he's going aggressive. Faker moving down towards his bottom side as well. The wall comes in. Seismic Shove pulls him back, and there is the answer. The 2-for-1 trade for T1.
Oh, never mind.
Bin looking like he's in a little bit of trouble here towards the top side of the map. Both of these champions can tank pretty nicely. There's the flash just to make sure he can get a dot. Can he? The all-out comes on through as Zeus was taking the turret for around 16 years, and there is the kill back in the end. Bin gonna be able to go 1-for-1.
Oh, Binny boy! And they're able to go 1-for-1. Faker now visited.
Yeah, if 2 didn't work, then let's bring 3. Dawning Shadow comes in. Fantastic handshake once again from On. I think that T1 might need to think about banning away that champion. Hostile takeover once again. On is going to make sure
He needs to use it again because Knight's in trouble topside.
He certainly is.
Yeah, this is a rough one. There's a seismic shove. It's going to miss, but it gets the flash. Knight now in trouble. He's surviving for a long time. The Gumayusi, he'll have the range. Bailout not quite going to be there. Arizona locks down that kill. Knock up after the cleanse. It's a disaster for health. T1 take 2. Seismic shove once again onto On. That is
2 ultimate from Wukong, who's got the level 6. Or who has the package on Knight. Is he going to go?
Weaver's all going to try and split this fight up. There's a seismic shove. Knight, he hasn't used the package. He tries to use it defensively, but it's cut off. And now there's Stretch Armstrong. He dives into the pit. The Drake is secured here for BLG, but T1 are just rolling over the top. Ben, he can't Cassante his way out of that one. Counter to Corky. It's impossible to play that matchup, and now we understand on both sides, just don't do it.
Gotta say,
It could be dangerous, and we'll see whether T1 can do it once again. Another flick back immediately. Has to use the Fate's Call as On is going to be saved. Carrier just standing in that front line. Zeus on the flank angle. The Zac looking for that opportunity. There is the Weaver's Wall to go through. Dawning Shadow to make sure that T1 are all absolutely fine. And in goes Zeus. Doesn't find the stretching strike, but he just doesn't take damage. Knight gets a decent package this time around, but the Cyclone does absolutely nothing. Ona tries to go aggressive. Knight gets at least 1 there as the bailout comes in, and T1, they're just a brick wall. They're not going to be taken down. Their health bar is still above 50% On, having to get out of there. And Knight, there is just nothing left in the tank. Carrier just chasing after him, tongue at the ready, and Faker will throw the rocks at the Renata to finish off the support. Zeus, yeah, this might take some time, but I think he might be able to get it. And there it goes, just lands the slingshot, and down goes, trying to aggressively position himself, trying to get his way in. As he eats all of those rocks, there's another wall. As the Cyclone, this time into the backline, is fantastic. It lands onto Gumayusi, but it's a trade of 80 carries. And Zeus is buying so much space. There goes the Wukong. Zeus, is he going to take damage? Will he? Will it happen?
He will, and then he'll heal it.
Yes, so he will. He will continue to take damage, but heals way more than he takes. As Knight is trying to hide behind the Gromp.
Where do you go?
Stay still for me, buddy. No, not going to work out there, too. And there is the Zac in once again. Lands right on top of On. Just not quite able to do too much. And yes, there are 3 members of BLG now throwing sticks and all sorts of stuff towards their Zac, but he still wants to go aggressive. Bin moving forward, and he is very, very tanky, but T1 just looks undeterred. They will be able to take the inhibitor towards the bottom side of the map. Just 1 inhibitor remaining, and Faker towards this turret. Still looking for a dive attempt. Weaver's Wall does come down. That will guarantee this one. Very textbook here for T1. They'll lock that one down. Now they go aggressive. In goes Zeus. Does get Elk out of there, but now they might have an opportunity. The Blob is finally going relatively low. Still has cell division. I'm pretty sure that we haven't seen it so far this game. Flash out of Shun. Has to avoid the seismic shove. The inhibitor does go down now, and BLG, they just can't get any lethal blows onto T1.
Yeah, they jumped the front line pretty low, but they're going back in.
All right, Zeus, he still has 100 health, so he may as well go in. There it is. Stretch Armstrong comes down. The cell division coming on forward, and he gets devoured. Never you mind. Zeus still has the passive up and available.
Oh my God.
This is just absurd. Bin going down very low. The Nexus turret's not going to last, and T1, they will even out the series against BLG.
T1 bounce back. Faker gets his turn with
his incredibly strong picks, but you can still go for some counters in that top side. They can work out relatively well, or even opt in towards the lane swap, which you've seen a huge amount. So T1 kind of showing their hand a little bit early here.
Perhaps, but Kobe.
Repeat dive.
Yeah, straight back down there once again. A good snare lands from Gumayusi here as Zeus tanking the first turret shot. We're going to try and soften him up. Of course, it is dangerous to try and dive at Jax just in general, but 4 versus 1 here on the top side of the map as well. Looks like BLG might be able to get onto the board as Carrier wants to eat that grey health. He does so, and Shun not going to be able to reset. That is Carrier locking that one down. A 1-for-1 on the top side, and in the meantime, Zeus just barely surviving, and they clean up the dive bot. There are 4 members of BLG moving down here. There's the flash, twisted advance, gets very deep underneath the turret, but the seismic shove is fantastic. And this time, Shun doesn't need a twisted advance to survive the dive. In goes Ona once again, does a fair bit of damage tonight. But it looks like they will be able to get away from this one scot-free. Faker making the roam down. Let's see whether the Faker can get his cage into position. T1 wanting to keep them interested. There's a flash out from On. And it should mean that T1 aren't able to get too much back, as Shun taking a lot of damage, still down to 100 though, keeps himself alive, as now Faker throws out the LTL, just barely survived.
Grabbing that first little break point. Meanwhile, Shun again, ultimate towards Faker.
Yeah,
Faker who does have flash.
Yeah, should be able to get himself pretty far away. Seismic shove going to connect though, puts down the cage, but it doesn't really do anything. Dark Matter flies down and Faker is just dead. No flash, their own. And now, Ona looking to go aggressive, does dive towards Elk, but thinks against it, as now that is a better target for the Cullen. Gumayusi taking a fair bit, still able to outrange it. Nature's Grasp going to be used here by Shun. Let's see who we can get for it, as Gumayusi very far off to the side, and that is going to be Ona going down. Elk dives forward, picks up the kill for himself, but he's now out of the
flip push with Faker on bottom side, being able to get the rest of the wave, but here comes the collapse from BLG.
Yep, gold card going to connect, but Elk not really too worried about it. And here is all of the ultimates flying forward. It's a decent gobble this time around, but the Tom Kench will not survive. Faker finds his opportunity, but he just takes a Nami, and that is not going to do enough to get them into this fight. Still flashing, puts down the cage, but the Baleful Strike will not land. And now there is nowhere for him to go. Back against the wall, and there is a
4 moving in.
Arizona getting himself out of there with the safeguard.
No flash on Faker.
And there's another Weaver's Wall to come through from Knight. Ona gets over at the Nature's Grasp, should be able to get the Viger, although it does run out. Still, I think Ben with some free time should be able to take him down. Seismic shove not onto Faker, but he's still going to go down. And that is Knight that collects that kill. T1, they do get here to try and defend, but they're not going to be able to save their mid lane.
They cannot afford to defend their red.
Oh my god! The devour has to be used here by Carrier, and he's going to get Gumayusi out, but to safety, I'm not entirely sure, because the teleport's coming in, and Ben just dives on top of him. There goes the bottom lane, shoved around his Carrier, and Knight is indeed here. Ona, he can safeguard his way through. And Faker with that smite play you were talking about, it is very scary. Dawning Shadow gives them vision, and Ona goes in, but it's not going to be in time. Kicks the tree over the wall, and then meets his demise. BLG, they'll... All right, well, Carrier's making his way back, and he's tanky, but not that tanky, and he goes the wrong direction, one could say. Faker's going to turn up alongside him, and just die. BLG are going to be the base broken for BLG. Feels like T1 just can't handle the pressure. There it is. Rocks being strewn on the ground in front of Gumayusi. Isaiah's trying to do some fancy footwork, but it is not going to be enough. As Ona, he gets underneath his inhibitor turret, but he's thrown around like a ragdoll once again. Elk will be taken down. So there's a lead.
Ultimate things that are just going to make your approach a death trap, so...
Well, there is a kick. That's just not going to work there for Ona. He's going to be put into a bubble and destroyed. Zayas moving on down the cage. Fantastic this time, but it's the resurrection, and Carrier, he mistimes the abyssal dive. Elk gets himself out of there with the relentless pursuit, and there goes Faker. BLG are too far ahead, and they know it has now been flashing with the counter-strike. That'll be the ace, and that will be match point for BLG.
BLG, the LPL first seed, showing why they were so feared coming into MSI. Taking us to a match point against T1.
Nexus will go down, and BLG, man, You were right, Kobe. You said it at the beginning. You saw that Lucian Nami.
Zac, so you still get at least a little bit of that AP damage coming through from the Zac. Could be just enough to fill that hole, but more than likely you're going to see Zeus going towards something like the Cassandra on the opposite side, so it could be the angle here for Bin.
We'll see. That is 5 Faker bans. Technically 6, because they banned the Ahri themselves. So Faker's going to have to dig a bit deep. Of course, you have mentioned the amount of champions he's played professionally, but how many is he practiced on for this tournament right now? That is the question. We saw already that the Aurelian Soul didn't look all that great out of this fight, as well as now Faker has his mitts on him. The Dragon down to 50%. Another W going to be connecting there. The Dawning Shadow, and it should be first blood as Gumayusi will be taken down. It's Bin that grabs the first one. Faker tries to get out of there, and T1 are now just going to find themselves lying on the ground. Zeus, not anything he can do, and he might split up, but he is still very dead. Gumayusi throws one auto at him. That is about all they're going to find for the moment. No commitment to any fight right now as Knight moving in from that top side, and now Faker tries to find his opportunity. They take down Shun. There is one in this fight as now Elk, he could be in trouble as well. Makes it underneath the turret, and now Gumayusi, this is his time. He's hopping mad underneath this one. Oda gonna do the same thing as Faker. Backflips on top. Not gonna be the bailout there for Owner, and they take their first turret. With the fact that T1 have found themselves at least a fight, could be an opportunity here as there's a flash depth charge to come out from On. Faker getting underneath the turret, does have the shroud, I believe, but no, he's not able to get into it, and Shun's able to lock down the kill. He has his teleport. Could be an opportunity. Hook is going to land there, and it's just not going to be anything here for T1. The Cell Division comes down, and T1 cannot find any opportunity. That is going to be Gumayusi using that Fate's Call to get Carrier out of dodge. But Carrier, I don't know about that one, Carrier. The hook is going to be there once again from the Giga Nautilus, and T1 are just falling apart. Dawning Shadow flies in.
Could work some magic, it would be Psycho though.
Oh dear, there is Gumayusi trying to dance his way around this turret, but Bin's just going to execute him.
Look at Owner. He knows the game is about to be lost, so he's trying to sneak his way over there. Knight says, no way you're getting through this jungle. The Baron is ours, and it all started with BLG sending the hit squad for Faker. 4 members every
fight, and it felt like there was somewhat of a way back in. That door has been shut, and maybe on someone's toes as well, as they're going to go for it once again. On still hasn't taken a damage yet as he gets his hand shook. Elk just standing in the back line, keeping him healed up as Faker looks for the flank angle. Gets the backflip onto Shun, but Gumayusi not going to get bailed out of this one. Shun dives in. He's just going to execute Faker. The hostile takeover is going to come on through. We'll see whether that's going to be enough as Knight does go down. Shun's going to follow suit, but it looks like BLG will have the man advantage in the end. That's going to be the ace, and they might just be able to win the game right here, right now.
BLG will take down the second seed of the LCK in what is an unbelievable performance from the first seed.
And able to get their revenge from the World Championship, and the LPL just showing the LCK that this is their tournament. They do not lose at MSI, and there goes the Nexus. That is the match for BLG, and they'll be heading towards the winners final.
The triple fist bump at the end.